Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 45th anniversary of the Sports Hall of Fame induction banquet and ceremony. For those of you who may not be familiar, I'm the one that has always backed up Joe Tate. Now that he has totally retired, I'm it. And I do want to take this opportunity to express my sincere thanks to the committee for their understanding last year when my wife took quite ill. We put her in the hospital, and 103 days later she went to be with the Lord. And she's in a good place, I was kind of told or suggested that maybe I offer some kind of background. I'm a retired teacher from the Admiral King High School. You may ahem all you want. I also have had some background in radio. I worked at WERE in Cleveland for a year and then spent 7 years at 3WE back when Joe Tate was also there, and then returned to the classroom to retire in 1997. The only other claim to fame that I might bring to your attention was back in the 70s and 80s when I would walk the streets of Broadway doing some shopping, and someone would stop me along the way and begin to talk. And I wouldn't have the slightest idea who that individual was. And apparently after some words, the individual would look at me and say, "Aren't you Chief John Malinowski?" I don't know how many times I was mistaken for the chief, and I just want to say from my heart, one of the finest individuals I've ever had the pleasure of meeting, and when I was in radio locally working with. Just an outstanding man. It's kind of ironic too that we're having this banquet on May 1st, which is the National Day of Prayer. And I certainly hope that our prayers might include continued success and great happiness for those being inducted today, individually and teams. And it wouldn't be a bad idea to put out a prayer for our Cleveland Indians too. Every ball game begins with the national anthem, and so does this induction banquet and ceremony. And it is my pleasure to once again introduce the finest singer of our national anthem that I've ever had the pleasure of knowing and listening to, Marlene Karpinski.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
My prediction was absolutely right on.
Thank you.
Just a reminder, the bar will reopen for the dinner hour only. The bar will then reopen after the program is completed for your socializing. And please, if you have not yet, please turn off your cell phones. And now I would like to bring forward our president of the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame Committee, David Simpson.
Thank you, Ron. Welcome to the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame 45th Annual Enshrinement Banquet. The organization was founded to honor those individuals who excel in athletic achievements or for their involvement in the sports arena. Tonight we will induct the class of 2014, consisting of 8 individuals and 2 teams, whose accomplishments continue to exemplify the high standards of performance excellence. We offer our sincere congratulations to the new class of inductees. Also, we offer our appreciation to the many family members and friends here tonight. The banquet committee has provided another outstanding event this year. Therefore, relax, dine, and enjoy this very special evening with family and friends. Before proceeding, we wish to introduce those individuals who will assist in tonight's program. Seated at the table to my front right, soloist Marlene Karpinski, Pastor Tim Williams, the Honorable Mayor Chase Rittenhour, and guest Lisa Handley, Clearview Superintendent of Schools Jerome Davis, Lorain Superintendent of Schools Thomas Tucker with his wife Diane, and last but certainly not least, my wife Amy Simpson. Thank you all for your support of the Hall of Fame Committee. Now I'd like to introduce the Elyria Sports Hall of Fame representatives. As I call your name, please stand and be recognized. Chairman Jerry Chismar, and Vice Chairman Tim Gebhardt. Oh, thought you were over there. Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. And also, we're looking forward to attending the Elyria Sports Hall of Fame banquet this Saturday. The Lorain Sports Hall of Fame Committee proudly presents the class of 2014. We ask that you hold your applause until all inductees have been introduced. From the regular category, starting on my far right, Donald Church, accompanied by his wife Monica. Eric Morrison, accompanied by his daughter Kimberly. Kyle Lathwell, accompanied by her mother Kathy. On my left, Daniel Yurovich, accompanied by his wife Becky. Jose Tirado, accompanied by his wife Sandra. Brad Frank, accompanied by his wife Julie. James Turton, accompanied by his wife Evelyn. From the special category, Daniel Breen, accompanied by his wife Tina. From the team category, Clearview High School 1979 track team, represented by Coach Mark Walden. Lorain United Polish Club 1996 fast pitch softball team, represented by team manager Gary Lilly. Ladies and gentlemen, please join the committee in welcoming the class of 2014 into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame. Now I'll turn the podium back over to Mr. Bacalar.
And at this time, I would ask Pastor Tim Williams to come forward from the Greater Victory Christians Ministries for our invocation.
Thank you. I got some pre-coaching, and I was instructed to keep the prayer under 20 minutes. So I started out, I had about 25 minutes, and I trimmed it down to about 17 and a half minutes. So I guess we'll start if you bow your heads. Gracious and most heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this time of celebration, this time of acknowledgement, this time of recognition. We thank you for these individuals who have demonstrated excellence in athletics. We thank you for the individuals who have taken their God-given gifts, combined them with strong work ethic, dedication, and commitment. And now we celebrate their accomplishments. We thank you for the individuals, the families, the friends who have supported these individuals and have come together to celebrate together on this evening. Now we ask you that even those who have passionately given themselves to maintaining this celebration, to bringing people together as a community to celebrate the accomplishment of individuals and teams in sport. We thank you that as we go forward, there will be greater athletes to come and that our community will continue to recognize this excellence. Now bless this food that will be for the nourishment of our body and for our enjoyment. Bless this fellowship that we would spend good quality time together in laughter and in memory. And we thank you for these things in Jesus' name, amen.
Dinner will now be served. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, certainly hope you enjoyed the meal. We are now going to begin the program, and it is my honor and privilege to introduce to you and to bring forward the Honorable Chase Rittenauer, Mayor of the City of Lorain.
Ron, thank you. Where's Neil Summers at? There's Neil. There's Neil. Neil, I don't know if it's Neil, I don't know if it's this event, but my girlfriend really doesn't come to a lot of these, and the Sports Hall of Fame consistently gets her here to attend, so you guys must be doing something right. But my concern is that it looks like a table is missing from the stage, and I was wondering if, because I've missed all of the meetings since being a part of the group, if I missed the vote on voting the city team that played that high school team in the charity basketball game, I wonder, the city team should be up here. I thought we were going to get inducted tonight, too, after I got posterized by the 7-footer in the newspaper who dunked on me. Yeah, maybe next year we'll get inducted. We'll see. We'll see. But anyway, on a serious note, on behalf of the City of Lorain, I'd like to welcome you to the 45th Annual Lorain Sports Hall of Fame Banquet. My thanks and appreciation go out to the committee for yet another, as we look around, fantastic event that I think we all in the City of Lorain look forward to each and every year. And to the athletes that are on the stage, my sincere congratulations to all of you on your forthcoming inductions this evening. You've all played a predominant role, not only in Lorain's athletic history, but in its overall history. Your highlights, your stories have been shared through the decades, and after this evening, they're going to appropriately be cemented in our history and preserved for future generations to look upon. Yeah. Once again, and that's right, once again, I'd like to congratulate really the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame, the organization and its leadership. Groups like the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame and all of you here in the crowd and on stage this evening, I think comprise the social fabric that's crucial in bringing a sense of community and bringing the community to our city. We have a city in terms of a geographic location, but all of us here tonight bring that community that's so important to our city. Tonight, we are together as a community celebrating these accomplishments of some of Lorain's finest. It's a privilege to be here with you tonight, and once again, congratulations to all the inductees as well as the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame. You are truly a part of what makes the City of Lorain great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the Washington.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight, the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame observes the induction of our 45th class. The Sports Hall of Fame was founded in December of 1969 by a group of sportsmen in cooperation with the Lorain Chamber of Commerce under the leadership of the Executive Director, J. Ed Ulen. The purpose was to honor Lorain residents whose athletic achievements exemplify the outstanding sports heritage of our community. The first class of 9 individuals were enshrined in April of 1970 and have grown to a total of 331 individuals and 30 teams. Refer to your banquet program on pages 4, 5, and 6 for a complete roster of the past enshrinees. While a sizable number of those who have been honored are deceased and many others reside in distant parts of the country, we welcome those enshriners who are with us here tonight. We now request that those in attendance please stand for recognition. Don't be bashful. The committee of the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame appreciate the continuing support of all past enshrinees. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time in the program when the Hall of Fame committee proudly inducts the class of 2014 into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame. Tonight, we induct 7 athletes whose athletic achievements have earned them recognition. 1 individual with an outstanding coaching reputation, and 2 teams whose excellence brought fame to their school and the city. I might add that these individuals and inductees were nominated by the general public. And with that said, if any of you believe that there are individuals or teams who deserve consideration for future induction into the Hall of Fame, it is up to you to obtain and submit a nominating application to the committee. Application forms are available from any committee member or at the museum and also from the website. We suggest that you read the complete achievements of each inductee, which you will find in their biography in the program book. Because my introductory remarks are condensed and relatively brief. And before we start, I just want to remind the inductees we have a little device here on the podium that I will start. It begins with 6 minutes, and if you exceed 6 minutes, it starts beeping. And if you ignore the beep, the floor opens up and you're gone.
6 is good, that's 1 extra.
All right. Inductees from the regular category are those individuals who have demonstrated outstanding athletic ability and achievement at their highest level of competition. Leading off tonight's outstanding group of inductees from the regular category is Donald Church, who ranks as one of the best running backs in Lorain High School history. A 2-year starter at tailback, he rushed for over 2,400 yards with 32 touchdowns. As a senior, he was team captain, Erie Shore Conference First Team, Erie Shore Conference Most Valuable Player, and was named to the Associated Press All-Ohio First Team. Donald then went on to Ashland College, where he was a 3-year starter as the featured running back with a career rushing total of 3,039 yards and 35 touchdowns. Church was chosen All-Midwest Intercollegiate Conference Offensive Back of the Year and was named to the All-Conference First Team. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Donald Church into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame.
Okay. You can place it right here.
Okay. No problem. Good evening. How's everybody doing? That's good. That's good. I love the energy in this room. Before I begin, I just want to thank God. I want to thank my parents. I want to thank my lovely wife, my lovely daughter, my sister, and my brother who's not here, and my cousin, and my dad's girlfriend, and Money and Lorain Tony Melendez. Also, I want to thank my teammates, my O-line, my coaches back there with their tremendous leadership and lifelong mentorship. I really appreciate that. Those guys still come up and used to come and see my sons play, so I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. And parents who supported the sports program, as well as the boosters who supported the sports program, teachers, Mr. Falk, Mr. Robbins, I see you guys in here. I appreciate that, and anybody else who I failed to mention. You know, going into my junior year, I was a little disappointed. I'm sorry, after my junior year, going into my senior year, I was a little disappointed due to the fact that I felt that I was better than what I was playing out there, right? If that makes sense. You know, they had a plethora of good running backs, right? My senior year, going into my senior year, they had good running backs from North Ridgeville, Sandusky. They always kept a good running back every year, and Elyria as well as Vermilion. And you know, I was always harassing my coach. One of my coaches, Coach Noah, I'm like, hey man, I'm like, you know, we need to run an I formation. You know, I need to be the type of running back that can, you know, if we're running an I formation, I need to run downhill, man, because I'm a better player at that position. I think we were running a wing T offense. And the wing T offense, if for those who don't know, right, you motion left, you motion right, you can counter left, counter right, you know, so it's a misdirection type of offense. And so I was always on Coach No's head about that, and Coach No was like, hey, listen, don't worry about it. Good running back, you know, does great things no matter what type of offense he plays in. So going into our fourth week, right, we're playing against Midview. Coach No called me in his office, and he was like, hey, listen. He was like, we're going to an I formation. And I was just elated, right? I was excited. And I think Midview had, their freshman team was playing our freshman team like on a Tuesday or Wednesday. And he said, hey, listen, we're going to have to run the wing T one more time because we don't want to give it away. You remember that, right? We don't want to give it away. And I think I probably had one of the best practices of my life. I ran that wing T offense like nobody could imagine. I was carrying out fakes for 30 yards down the field. Needless to say, during game day, we ended up doing pretty good. Coaches called an excellent game plan, and my teammates did well. I had a really good game. And after that, I think we played King, we played Southfield, and I amassed a lot of yards, right? They're pretty good. And just to mention, it was like 2 quarters and 1 series on in the third quarter, right? Because Coach King, who's the type of coach he believed in not showing up the other team, right? So he's like, hey, listen, you had a good game. I'm going to take you out, get 1 more series in the third quarter, you're done. And played North Ridgeville, Vermilion. I think I had like 242, 271 in Elyria. That was a pretty good game. I think I had like over 120 yards. I guess my point is the I formation worked. Thank you, Coach No, I appreciate that. Thank you. Another quick story, right? So a lot of people don't know my relationship with Coach King, right? He actually was my soccer coach in the 7th grade. So when I moved to Lorain, it was the end of the 7th grade year, beginning of the 8th grade year. Coach King was our soccer coach, and one of the things I remember of him, his son Danny played on the team. And you know, Danny you know, get in this mode where he just wanted to start talking back, and Coach King would grab him and give him a little, you know, like I said before, I'm not gonna say what I want to say, but give him a little coaching and counseling. We'll just say that. So I knew this guy didn't take no stuff from anybody, right? And so my 8th grade year, we had like one of the best Longfellow teams you can ever imagine. I think we were undefeated. Nobody scored on us. And the last game that I played in was not the last game for the team because I was leaving to go see my father. Go live with my father. I got 56 seconds left. So to make a long story short, at the end of the game, Coach Melendez had lined everybody up. And he had everybody tell me like, hey, how much they miss me, and what type of a good person I was. You know, and after about the 7th person, I'm already dropping tears. Not to mention, I stayed on the east side of Lorain, right? So I had a girlfriend on the east side and a girlfriend on the west side. So I obviously, right, back in those days, and I was considered like a tough kid at Longfellow, but I got dumped. But Coach Melendez always reeled me around to Coach King, and I remember Coach King telling me this, right? And I'll never forget this. He said, you know, when you come back, he was like, hold on. He said, when you come back, he said, make sure you go to Lorain High because you're going to have an opportunity to be a pretty good running back. And, excuse me, but when I came back, I stayed on 20th and Utica. And as you guys know, that's a far walk. I should have went to King. But I told my mom, I was like, I'm going to Lorain High because Coach King told me he wanted me to go to Lorain High. And I did. Coach King, you was right, man. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Our second inductee from the regular category is Eric Morrison, who was the key player in Admiral King's drive to the state basketball championship game in 1980. Morrison was a 2-year starter for the Admirals and was an outstanding shooter from the floor. He was highly honored, including All-Ohio Special Mention, and was selected to play in the Ohio North-South All-Star Game. He continued his play at Capital University as a 4-year starter, was a 2-time All-Ohio Athletic Conference honoree, was Team Most Valuable Player, and helped lead the Crusaders to 3 NCAA Division III tournaments. Eric was enshrined in 2011 into the Capital University Athletic Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Eric Morrison into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame.
Like old time, huh? To God be the glory. I have some extra pressure because Mr. Backlar was once my speech teacher. So, so I gotta get this right?
You got an automatic A.
Okay. I'd like to thank my parents, Richard and Juanita Morrison, my 3 sisters, Phyllis, Cynthia, and Lisa, who taught me how to compete, not just in basketball, but kickball and double dutch and hopscotch and all that. My Uncle Cornell, who also taught me how to compete, but also taught me how to lose, because he would never let me beat him. And when I would get close, our one-on-one games quickly became 5-on-5, and he would pick me on his team. I guess I was doing something right. I thank Coach Gillum, who I'm sure most of you know. He taught me the game, taught me the X's and O's, and got the most out of my talent. And I just have to mention my teammates, my senior teammates, Tony Nieves and Jeff Simmons and John Robarsik, Larry Maloney, and Gary Barron, who we went all the way down to the state, and we did some good things. So thank you very much.
I can honestly say that Eric and the rest of that team in 1980 very special to me for the simple fact that was my daughter's senior year, and she was a varsity cheerleader and the very first to get down to Columbus to cheer in the Final Four. So I'm real excited about that. All right, the third inductee from the regular category is Kyle Lathwell. She was an outstanding athlete at the Lorain High School, playing tennis and softball, but it was in basketball where she excelled as a player and team leader. Kyle was a four-year starter and as a senior averaged 22.6 points per game, while shooting 50% from the field in leading the 1990-91 Lorain High School team to a 20-0 regular season record, winning the Erie Shore Conference Championship. Lathwell received numerous awards, including All-Ohio First Team, and was named Lorain County Miss Basketball. Kyle received a full athletic scholarship from Division I Kent State University, where she was a three-year starter, averaging 8.2 points per game as a junior. However, she broke her wrist in her senior year, which resulted in limited playing time. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kyle Lathwell into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame.
Good evening. I feel privileged and honored to be standing here as an inductee to the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame. Congratulations to all of tonight's inductees. I want to express my appreciation to all members of the Hall of Fame for their consideration of me and their decision that I am worthy of enshrinement into this esteemed organization. I also want to convey my gratitude to Dr. Tracy McCaughty for the many hours she spent creating a very thorough and polished nomination binder. Thank you, Tracy. To my teammates from every team and every sport in which I participated, I say thank you. Each of you stands here with me as I speak. To all of my coaches, I offer heartfelt thanks as well. Three coaches in particular will always have a special place in my heart. Jay Ferguson, I know you're here somewhere. You were there for me for 4 years, and you coached with a player-centered approach that made all of us better. Thurm Riddle, you taught me in the most gentle ways how to harness athletic ability I did not know that I had. Dad, you were the best coach I ever had. You let me start tagging along to your practices when I was only 4 years old, and I learned so much from you over the years about the skill, psychology, and value of sport. You have never stopped coaching me between the lines of athletic competition and the lines of life. Mom, thank you for being my greatest fan. You never missed a match or a game, and you have never stopped being a fierce supporter of both of your daughters. You continue to support me in all that I do, and I love you dearly for that. Lindsay, every person with a sister should have a sister like you. I will never forget your constant support and the amount of time you spent at my games and matches. You're an inspiration to me, and you always have been. It is easy to love sport. The competition of the game or match challenges every player to rise to his or her best and to contribute to others who strive to do the same. To be recognized for my contribution to sport in Lorain is indeed an honor. Thank you, Lorain Sports Hall of Fame, for opening your doors to me.
The fourth inductee from the regular category is Daniel Yurkovich, who was a talented multi-sport athlete in football, basketball, and baseball at the Lorain High School. Yurkovich was a two-year starter for the Steelmen, and as a senior was a two-way player at quarterback and safety on defense. His play resulted in several awards, including All-Buckeye Conference First Team, Best Defensive Player in Lorain County, and the All-Ohio First Team. Dan received an appointment to the U.S. Naval Academy, where he was deeply involved in the intramural program in the sports of football, basketball, and softball. In the boxing ring, he went undefeated, 20-0, in his 4 years at the Academy. He was runner-up in 1985 as the Brigade Midshipman Intramural Athlete of the Year among his class of 1,057 individuals. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Daniel Yurkovich into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much. Oh, come on, Joe, you're fired.
We'll talk later. Hey, Coach Provident, where you at? Let's get this thing going. Okay. Very much. Do I need an extra minute? Mr. Beck.
We haven't started yet.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame for this humbling honor. I'm going to remember this the rest of my life, obviously, and thank you very much. Where did it get started for me? It was, don't worry, I only have 6 minutes, so it's not going to go that far back. But for those of you who know Gene Szabo, Coach Szabo drafted me as an 8-year-old to play on the Canadian Legion Little League team, and I caught for him for 5 years. He taught me baseball, but what was really neat is he took me to every Lorain High School football game, where every time the Virgil Williams, the Willie Rodriguez's, my brother Doug, who's here in the audience, got to play and they scored. You never scored, Doug, but I got to blow the horn. I got to blow the horn, and at that point I knew I wanted to play football, and I was going to be somebody to reckon with. That was my whole focus was football. I loved football. So who do I owe all of the accolades to, if you will? I mean, there are a couple of coaches here that I'm going to mention, but the first coach was Coach Doug Thompson. And those of you who knew Coach Doug Thompson, and we just lost him within the last month, he was my biggest supporter. He was the reason that all these accolades that were written, I received him, because he stuck up for me and he battled for me. But he taught me football. Good man, good coach, and a great teacher. Coach Vic Fariga. I played baseball for him as a varsity catcher for 3 years, 2 years in varsity football, but more importantly, he taught me math. I'm an aerospace engineer by trade, so he taught me pretty well. Student athlete was what Vic Fariga reminded me of, and even though he called us all horses' asses, he was a great coach and a great teacher, really was. Coach Terry King, who has been mentioned once already, Coach Terry King taught me how to be a quarterback. I was really a blocking back. I mean, I was always leading the sweeps around the end, but he taught me how to be a quarterback. I wish we would have thrown a little bit more. I think we would have scored some more, but thanks, Coach. Coach Bill Provident, who's in the audience, he taught me a life lesson, and it was a pretty key life lesson. And the life lesson was that no matter what you do, good or bad, there are consequences. And anybody who's interested in knowing what those consequences were, I'll tell you after the ceremony. But thanks, Coach. It was a lesson well learned. Coach Chip Klein, who I don't think is here, coached me for 2 years at Longfellow. Oh, sorry, Coach, I didn't see you. 2 years at Longfellow as a track star, right? 2 years of football. Started off as a center and a middle linebacker. Then coached me every year at the high school level. And I'm telling you, he was very quiet, very demanding, taught me the basic skills of the game. Coach, I really appreciate it. You spent the most time with me through junior high and high school. Thank you. So from a coaching perspective, those are the folks who really made an impact. But there's one more that I want to mention, and that's Coach Carl Hartman. I always started. I didn't know what it was not to start. So my senior year playing basketball, I sat the bench. At 51 years old, I now understand why I sat the bench. But Coach Hartman taught me another life lesson, how never to quit on yourself or your teammates. Coach, I told you I was going to say that. I appreciate that because I learned it and I was able to share it with my two boys, and it's been a great life lesson. I've got 20 plus family and friends here tonight, and I'd love to tell every one of you how much I love you, but I don't have the time. But I do want to reach out because there's two special folks that I do want to talk about. One is my dad. I could go on for hours. Just surprised him with his 80th birthday party. We love you to death, Pop, but I'm going to tell you what he taught me. I could go on for hours about my dad, but I'm going to really make it succinct. Nobody in this world owes you anything. You can't give more than 100%, it's impossible. But I'm telling you what, if you don't give 100%, you're being lazy, okay? So everything you do, you better give 100%. And if you look in the book, my sons wrote something, which they knew I was going to say, but if winning wasn't important, you would never keep score, okay? And all of us are athletes in here, and we understand that you play the game to win. You don't play to get second place. My wife of 29 years and girlfriend of 40 years, think about that. I told you I was 51, okay? I left St. Anthony's, went to Longfellow, and we had the best Longfellow team. We'll talk about that later. Chip Klein will tell you that, too. Becky and I have dated since 7th grade. We've raised 2 kids together. She went through the Naval Academy with me, the Marine Corps, 11 states. Great athlete in her own right, for any of you who remember. 11 varsity letters. But she's the love of my life. And without her, I wouldn't be here today, and she's really helped me, and I appreciate it. I've got 4 last people who aren't here tonight that I'd like to recognize because what they did is they helped teach me to become a young man and a scholar athlete. One was my Aunt Beverly DeMacchia, Aunt Bibi. My father-in-law, Ken Hennis, who I think a lot of you knew Ken. He passed a couple of years ago. We have 2 Pat Hennis's in the audience, and I thank you both for being here. But the number 1 Pat Hennis was my mother-in-law, who passed a long time ago. I could do no wrong, and I think that's probably because I stole Becky. But she was fantastic. And finally, everybody has a big supporter. My biggest supporter was my mom. She made sure I was at every practice, every game. I had clean uniforms. She'd stick up for me. She'd fight my battles. Sometimes that wasn't good. Those of you who were there in my junior, senior year, and there are a lot of you who were, could hear this from everywhere in freaking George Daniels Stadium. And, you know, my mom has been gone for a while. She was my biggest supporter. I'm going to bring this one last time for my mom, in memory of her, from the Lorain High School. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the evening.
After seeing that 20-0 record as a boxer, I figured I better say the Lorain High School. Our 5th inductee from the regular category is Jose Tirado, a standout athlete at the Southview High School, earning 3 varsity letters in football and was a 4-year letterman on the track team. His outstanding performance as a wide receiver earned him all Northeast Ohio Conference honors in his junior year, and he repeated the honor in his senior year and was also named to the UPI All-Ohio Offensive Second Team. After graduation, Jose received a scholarship from Penn State, However, after his freshman year, he transferred to Baldwin Wallace College to play for the legendary coach Lee Tressel. He was a 2-year starter at wide receiver and had 2 outstanding seasons. Toronto's senior year was crowned as he scored 4 touchdowns in the playoff series to lead the Yellow Jackets to the 1978 NCAA Division III National Championship in the Amos Alonzo Stagg Bowl. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jose Toronto into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much. Obviously, I'm honored to be here. Who would have thought that a skinny little kid from South Lorain would wind up standing here before all of you? This is truly an honor. I'd like to start off by thanking my family who's with me here today. Obviously, my wife, my daughter, Alina. I got your name in, Alina. There you go. I have family that's traveled here to be with me and to share this with me from Long Beach, California, Orlando, Florida, South Bend, Indiana, Sheffield Lake. That's right. 30th Street and 36th Street. They're all here. Thank you. I love you all. Thank you for being here with me. I have to start off by thanking my parents. Very special people. Even though they didn't have much of a formal education, they understood the importance of education. And the question I was always asked as a kid was, what do you want to study when you go to college? Not, are you going to college? They instilled that in me from the beginning, so there was no other alternative. I was going to go to college. Fortunately, I had a little bit of ability, and I was able to do that. They were also very competitive, so I think I get my competitive nature from them. I'd like to thank my coaches, my 3 head coaches. Harvey Herman, who was just up here, Chuck Bryant, and Lee Tressel. A lot of great lessons learned from these 3 gentlemen. The 2 that stick with me most come to mind. Nothing comes easy. Nothing worth having comes easy. You have to work at it. You have to love it, and you have to put in the work. And it's served me well in sports. It's something I try to impart on my kids growing up. You have to put in the work. There are no shortcuts. You see a lot of people nowadays looking for shortcuts. There are none. You have to love what you do, and you have to put in the time to make it happen. The other lesson, and that is, if you have a group of people, like-minded people, willing to put in the work and the time, talking about teamwork, there's no end to what you can accomplish. Teamwork was the other thing that I learned from these gentlemen. So I thank the 3 of them. I played a team sport, and as a wide receiver, you need a lot of help to make something happen. So I want to thank all the teammates, everyone I played with, from Whittier to Southview to Baldwin Wallace College. Thank you all, and thank you all this evening for sharing this with me. Thank you.
The next inductee from the regular category is Brad Frank, who was a 3-year varsity standout in basketball at the Lorain High School. Brad had an outstanding senior year, averaging close to 21 points and 11 rebounds per game. He was named to the All-Buckeye Conference first team, was the sectional tournament most valuable player, and named to the All-Ohio honorable mention team. Frank was awarded a scholarship to St. Clair Community College, where he played for 2 years, averaging over 18 points and 10 rebounds per game. He continued his college career at the University of Minnesota Duluth, where he played for 2 years and led the team in scoring average per game. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Brad Frank into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame.
In the early 60s, my father, Bert, taught at Lorain High School. They played basketball on the stage in the auditorium. He took me down and started me on the yellow brick road. Those faces looking down. It's all about your family. That's who gave you your start. Thanks, Mom, Bev, my sister. And my mates, Jim Stringfell, Edgar Sanchez, Chad Saladin, Johnny Q, to name a few that walk with you forever in your heart. And to the wizards that mold your mind and give you the courage to overcome and broaden your path. Hank Orban taught us sports. Dale Reichert guided us and told us to work. Carl Hartman, he worked us. Bill Mackinnon and Thurm Riddle, they were the technicians. Poise, gentlemen, poise. Pat Bieber helped get Southview's Mike Molnar and myself to St. Clair, where I met my wife, Julie. Always back to Lorain, where I worked with Larry Stark, George Simonovich, Bob Karras, and Ralph Barrios, while offering my experience and my passion to the middle school students of South Lorain. Then I found my ruby shell tops and the joy of my life coaching my daughter and my son, Marcy and Brian, while going home to finish my career back on the yellow brick road. To everyone in attendance tonight, long may you run down your yellow brick road. Thank you, Lorain Sports Hall of Fame committee members.
The final inductee from the regular category is James Turton, an outstanding two-way varsity starter at offensive guard and defensive end linebacker for the Lorain High Steelmen. Although he was only 5'9" and 160 pounds, Jim proved that with his speed, quickness, agility, and the tremendous drive that he had, he could hold his own against opposing bigger linemen. He was rated excellent at pulling and leading downfield blocking for the speedy running backs on the 1959 team that shared the Buckeye Conference Championship. Turton was named to the 1959 Buckeye Conference All-Star First Team and the Columbus Junior Chamber All-Ohio Offensive First Team. After graduation, Jim joined the military service and was a member of the U.S. Army football team in West Germany. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome James Turton into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you. What a wonderful day. And I'm also glad to hear there's a few Longfellow Longhorns with me. Okay, I would like to start with thanking the Hall of Fame committee for this wonderful honor. I want to thank my family and friends for taking the time to share this special moment with me. And especially like to thank my good friend and teammate, Ron Sauer, who was my greatest advocate and bugged everybody to get me into this Hall of Fame. Thank you, Ronnie. I am humbled to be included amongst a group of such great athletes. At a time like this, at this stage of my life, one stops to contemplate the what-ifs of life. I was a 5'9", 165 pound offensive and defensive lineman. What if I was only 4 inches taller, maybe 50 pounds heavier? What would life brought me? Well, guess what? I am 50 pounds heavier now. And I think it's kind of late for the 4 inches. You know, I stop and think back to some 50-some years ago and compare some of the athletes of my era to the athletes of today. The athletes of today are, yeah, they're bigger, they're faster, but I'm not so sure they're tougher. I remember those 90-degree August days, and we were doing those two-a-days back at George Daniel Field. Back there was only one tree, and underneath that tree laid a bunch of tackling dummies, okay? And on top of those dummies, the only thing you saw was the wide receivers and running backs. Well, maybe some of us were tough. Never could figure out why only the wide receivers and the backs got to stay under that tree, while us linemen and linebackers had to stay out under the sun and practice. Maybe that's why they called them skilled players. Anyways, back to tough. We used to practice from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., break for lunch, and do it again between 12:30 and 3:30. The tough part of it was we were never allowed to have any water except during lunchtime and after practice. I ask, what page of the training manual did this come from? Truth be told, it was believed at that time that water would cramp you up and make you sick. I think I would have much rather had the cramps. Yeah, we were tough. How lucky and proud I am. I got to play high school football from 1957 through 1959 for the Lorain High Steelmen. We played in front of crowds of 7,000 people or more, with bleachers set up in the end zone for the Elyria game to accommodate the crowd, especially for the Elyria game. I remember when Warren Harding came to George Daniel Field in 1958, featuring it back by the name of Paul Warfield. By the way, in that game, we beat Warren Harding 20-14, and Paul Warfield had to leave the field after halftime. Of course, in 1959, we went down to Warren Harding. Lorain High was probably, I think we were third in the state and Warren was second. And unfortunately, it was Paul Warfield with one run, probably the only run he made of the day of about 70 yards that beat us. But I guess, that's not a bad thing to be beat by Paul Warfield. That was the glory days of high school football. I was looking at the past Lorain Sports Hall of Fame trainees and noticed that not too many of them were linemen. And so I'm honored to be one of them. And also there has been 8 fellow teammates of mine enshrined. 1 from Sandlot Baseball, 3 from the 58 football team, and 4 from the 1959 football team. Also, 3 former football coaches. And best of all, last year, our entire 1959 football team was enshrined in this wonderful, wonderful Hall of Fame. Now today I get to join them. How special is that? Thank you, Lorain Sports Hall of Fame, and thank God for letting me be part of one of the greatest eras in Lorain sports history. Thank you.
Representing the special category is Daniel Breen, a basketball standout at Lorain High School who made his mark with an exceptional record in coaching girls basketball in Iowa. Dan continued his playing career at Lorain County Community College and Parsons College in Fairfield, Iowa. After graduating from Parsons College in 1971, he accepted the challenge to start a basketball program for girls at Fairfield High School. Coach Dan set up a foundation for his program and produced dominating teams, culminating in 1983 as they won the state championship in a one-class structure with over 500 teams. Dan retired from coaching in 1988 with a career record of 336 wins, 60 losses, 13 consecutive conference titles, 13 consecutive 20-win seasons, 6 state tournaments, and 5 consecutive Final Four appearances. He was inducted into the Iowa Girls Basketball Coaches Hall of Fame in 2005. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Daniel Breen into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you. 45 years ago, I drove away from Lorain and headed off to college to play basketball, which had always been my dream. And essentially, I never moved home. So this is especially emotionally for me to be here. I had the good fortune, and I've told this story many times in Iowa, I had the good fortune that I got to grow up in the Lorain, Ohio of the 1950s and the 60s. If you're a little younger, you wouldn't understand maybe. This was the time of the industrial peak for this country, and Lorain was the center of that. And people here were particularly hardworking. They were particularly competitive. They were particularly proud. And I took that with me. I became a conduit of that, what I learned and what I just inherited by being here and being nurtured with the environment of Lorain, Ohio. And there's another thing about Lorain that gave me, that was the centerpiece probably of everything that happened to me in sports since. And it was the confidence that came from being from Lorain. I don't have to make that up because I'm here. When you were from Lorain, that meant something. When we encountered kids from other towns, we were from Lorain. That meant something. When we played a game of any sort, in any sport, we were from Lorain, and that meant something. And the big games, of course, became between those of us who lived in Lorain. And it was a glorious era, and I was surrounded by tremendous competitors and tremendous teammates. I really was. I don't have to exaggerate. I grew up in a time where every playground, and especially the best playgrounds where we would go, had great players. It wasn't just some kids playing a game. I got to play against great players. People always bring up our games against Jim Bubbles Harris, which became sort of a defining moment, I guess, in my life, and Pat Bieber, and I think and Emmett Flynn, names that I know are already in the rolls of the Hall of Fame here. My teammates, I had great guys and all very good athletes, several already in the Hall of Fame. Terry King, Jim Greaser, and one of my greatest lifelong friends that I would trust to this day, Bruce Hagens, is here tonight. We had people on our team that we learned to trust one another. And I learned that that was the element. Lorain High had gone through a period there where we weren't as good coming out of the split of the schools, and we were moving up. And suddenly I found myself amongst kids at the time, young men, call it what you will, but we trusted each other. And I thought about this later, I never thought about a statistic. I couldn't even tell you what the statistics were. I did that with all my girls' teams. I don't know how many shots anybody took. I don't know what the scoring averages were. I just knew that I could trust my teammates, and I knew that we were there to do what anybody from Lorain knew to do, and that was you play to win. So when it prepared me to go on and play college, I happened to play under 4 different head coaches. All went on to bigger and better things. 3 of them went to Division I. I played on 4 essentially different teams, and I had a distinct advantage, and that was every time that first day of practice, I was from Lorain, and I wasn't afraid of anybody. A little skinny kid compared to some of them, it didn't matter because I wasn't afraid of anybody. It's because I was from Lorain. It was something in the way we were raised here, and it was a tremendous advantage. So how did that find its way into girls from a small town, Iowa? Well, somehow it just flowed through me to them. So when we had to go play the big city schools and the big suburban schools and the big parochial schools, the advantage we had was that they were not afraid. And it matters in sports and it matters in life when you can start with that attitude, and it certainly makes a difference with the people who really think they're very good and find out you're not afraid of them. That was always a big part of how I had approached my sports career. It enabled me to go on and do exactly what I had wanted to do in this life, and I'll be forever grateful for that. I do want to thank a whole slug of people that are here tonight that I had no idea were going to be here. This gets a little more difficult for me. I have a family here that came all the way from Iowa. I have an assortment of children and grandchildren over there, and I defy anybody to figure out which ones are which. That's another story. I have my in-laws are here all the way from Iowa. I have people from Florida and Michigan, and so this means a great deal to me. But the other thing I do want to share, I want to go back to my coach, because as a high school kid, I was one of those street kids in Lorain, and I didn't live a perfect life. And I needed somebody to put the hand on me to sort of get me in the direction I needed to go. And I just, an act of God, I had Coach Talachnik, who was there to put me in the right position, to nurture the kind of career I needed to have, and for that I will be forever grateful. And with that, I want to thank the committee and thank all of you. Good night.
Tonight we honor the Clearview High School 1979 track team, and before proceeding with the introductions and biography, we invite all the team members to come forward for the presentations. And when later they are introduced individually, we would ask you to please hold the applause until everyone has been introduced. The Clearview High School 1979 track team captured the state track championship to repeat the achievement by the 1978 team. The core group of the team had been members of that team and were determined to repeat. Early on the tourney trail, the Clippers won sectional and district championships with winning contributions from Charles Neely and Van Jackson, in addition to those teammates who finished first at state. The Clippers won the state title thanks to first place finishes from Mark Walden in both the 220-yard and 440-yard dashes, And the mile relay team, anchored by Walden, included Tito Flores, Mike Walsh, and A.C. Witherspoon. Clearview's 1979 state track championship not only made it 2 in a row, it was the school's 3rd state championship in track overall, while establishing a Lorain County record. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Clearview High School 1979 track team into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame.
Take a picture of it when you're finished. Run a whole lot for it.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, this is truly a wonderful, wonderful honor to be here in the Lorain Sports, to be inducted in the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame. But none of this would ever be possible if it wasn't for my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. This wouldn't be possible because He is our all in all. Clearview High School track team from 1979, state champions. And the key word is team. It was a band of young men coming together to accomplish some major goals, being led by a great head coach in Marv Hoagland and excellent coaches in Lynn Nikoloff and Dan Trent. The first track team to be inducted into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame. To be able to win such track meets as the Lorain County Relays, the Vermilion and the Nelson Howe Invitationals took a total team effort, scoring points from the field events, distance running events, and the sprints and the relay events. Every point mattered. Also on the way to state, the team won the sectional and district championships, often running against bigger schools and having a mini track meet at practice, which we had every day. And to know that the guys remember that, and we remember those runoffs. Remember those runoffs we had every week. It was so amazing. There was different guys on the relays every week because everybody was working so hard to push each other just to get on those spots of the relays. Practicing on the cinder track. Wow. Working out at Amherst High School and going to Oberlin College because they had the all-weather track. We didn't have that at Clearview. We ran on cinder tracks with rocks, mud, dirt, whatever it took, we were out there doing it. Running the hills at Oakwood Park, working out in the parking lot at Clearview, running the halls inside of the school, and running in the auditorium. Once I remember Coach Hoagland, and I know the guys are going to remember this, piling us all up into the school van. Our school van didn't have no seats in it. He had tires in there. And he piled us all up in the van. He said, we're going to go for a ride. So we being, we're going to follow this man anywhere he want to go. We said, okay, let's get in there. Boy, he would have got a lot of tickets then if they would ever pulled him over. But he piled us all in that van and he took us out to the corner of Oberlin Road and Route 113. Then he said, see you guys back at the school. He said, I don't care how you get there. You can take a cab, you can get on a plane, you can ride a horse. He said, I don't care how you get there. You should be back in 25 minutes. And knowing us, we were a little bit upset at first, man. This man was crazy. But we did make it back with the help of some dogs from the neighboring area right there. We did get back in time. Yes, there were some great workouts, and they did pay off. Coach Hoagland had a method to his madness, and it worked. Yes, this team was and still is very special, and it is great to see the guys and to be inducted into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame. Thanks for voting us in, and may God bless and continue to keep you all. And I'm going to, right now, name our team members. Mike Walsh. Brad Dennis, Keith Monis, A.C. Weatherspoon, Brent Dennis, Charles Neely, Tony Wilson, Pete Duffield, Kevin Arrow, Van Jackson, Sammy Jackson, Tito Flores, Tony Goins. And there was some that were not able to attend tonight. That was Kevin Richardson, Mike Shields, Dave Clark, John Lockman, and Wendell Gaddy. Yes, we worked hard. We worked hard and we were best friends and we are still best friends. And all that work that we did, it all paid off. And the proof is in the pudding, like they said, for being here. But we have some wonderful, wonderful coaches, and we ran for a great community in the Clearview community. And it was great being able to come back to the school and have those pep rallies where they really showed that they really cared about Clearview track. Thank you.
Tonight we also honor the Lorain United Polish Club fast pitch softball team, and before proceeding with the introduction and biography, we invite all team members to please come forward. The UPC team won the American Softball Association Class C National Championship in College Station, Texas. After winning the first 4 games, they lost the 5th game to AutoZone of Memphis, Tennessee, which dropped them to the losers bracket. The team overcame the Texas Heat to win the next 3 games, and that set up a rematch with the undefeated AutoZone team. Well, needless to say, the United Polish Club won the championship by defeating Memphis twice by the identical scores of 7-5. Tournament All-American honors were awarded to Gary Lilly, Mike Karen, Ken Shoup, Bill Millsaps, and John Millsaps Jr. Mike Karen was named the tournament's most valuable player. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Lorain United Polish Club 1996 fast pitch softball team into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you. Well, I was given some advice on how to not be nervous. They say, look out at the crowd, picture everybody in their underwear. But I see Mike Tony over there, I see Ed DeHana, so I'm just going to have to be nervous and get through this. We're very excited to get in. We were nominated 4 years ago. It took a while, but I think it makes it sweeter to finally get in. We've got 7 of us from Southview, the old 5-5, Whittier Warriors, Southview Saints. Yeah, thank you. Our team started off, we were a Hungarian club in the old fast pitch softball leagues. For some of you that are really young, yes, guys did play fast pitch softball. We know it's a girls' game now, but there was a lot of good fast pitch played, mostly before my time, but I got to get in it in the 80s as Hungarian club. We morphed, became a travel team, moved about. We became UPC in 1994, and we were okay that year. 95, we picked up a couple players, Mike Karen, who else came aboard that year? Ralph Barrios, I believe. And we upped the ante a little bit. We qualified for the Nationals, went out to Eugene, Oregon. Didn't do too well. We went 1-2, but the excitement of being there was good. The next year we added a couple more players, Nandi Cruz and Jim Robinson. who had played with Frank's Rec before, and the team had a pretty magical year then in '96. We played in 6 different tournaments. We won 5 of them. National qualifier in Rockford, Illinois. We got a little bit lucky there. We won our first 3 games, and with Kenny Schaup pitching all of them. We only took Kenny and John with us. Jim Robinson couldn't make that one. We won the first 3, and it never stopped raining. And we were the only undefeated team. We were declared the champions and qualified for nationals. We went on to win the Morrow Round Robin tournament, Kent State tournament, our league tournament, and finished with the 46-20 record, which so then Labor Day weekend with 57 teams throughout the nation. We were in College Station, Texas, home of Johnny Football, who was probably, what, 2, 3 years old back then. And we started off the tournament, won our first 4 games. The 4th one was an especially interesting game. We were down 6-2 in the top of the 7th. And it was like, well, nice run. Hey, we got 3. That's a good start. And I remember Marvin Cruz, I think, started it off. He pinch hit a ground ball, and the guy airmailed it over to first baseman's head. And it only got better for us from there. With 2 outs, Nandi and Mike Kieran had back-to-back hits, tied it. Kenny Schaup had come in relief through 7 1/3 innings of shutout ball. Finally, in the 11th inning, I think Bogey hit a triple. Greg Shedrin, as he's also known as, hit a triple to knock in 2 runs. Kenny held him, and we got that 4th win. And then we had the game against Memphis. It didn't go so well. Pitcher named Bubba, and Bubba could pitch. He was a hard thrower. I think we had 1 or 2 hits. We lost 4-0. Again, thinking, that's not bad, you know. Let's see what we can do the next day. So we had to, as it turns out, we played 5 games on Labor Day. Won our, yeah, that wasn't easy. It was about 80-some degrees. Remember that, guys? How hot it was? That was some crazy stuff. And what we'd do, we'd start Jim Robinson. He'd pitch 3 or 4 innings. Kenny'd come in, and it just worked perfect. Ralph would start off catching. He'd move to DH, and we just had it going. And we kept loose. Bogey had his boom box. He'd play music while we were warming up. You know, the other teams are uptight, and we're just chillaxing. You know, he might play some salsa music or Rare Earth, or if we were really lucky, maybe the Partridge Family. You know, so we definitely had the music going on. It was a lot of fun, and I think that looseness is really what helped get us to us. We won a big game, 7-3. Rick Zakryzak hit a 3-run homer in that one, and that got us to the rematch with AutoZone. And again, I think we got a little lucky there. Memphis had Bubba, and that was about it. And I think Bubba wore down a little bit. With our 2 pitchers, we were able to get to him. I think what took the invincibility off him when Nandi and Mike went back-to-back home runs on him is like, hey, I think we can do this, guys. So we won 7-5. Second game for the championship, start right after. Play a little salsa music, get back out there, let's play again. And it was 7-5, ironically, in the bottom of the 7th. And they put men at first and third, had their number 3 hitter up. Remember that guy? He was a beast. He had tormented us throughout the tournament. Hit a ground ball to Kenny, who's pitching, turned around, threw to Nandi at short. Nandi over to Bogey, double play, tournament over. Wow, we did it. So we went running out to right field. This team from Texas was pelting us with beer cans, and it was just great. And we even drank a couple of them when we caught them, so that worked out nicely. And then we got back in, we got our awards, and me being a player coach, they surprised me and gave me the old Gatorade shower. And I guess my time is about up. I would like to recognize a few of the early players that didn't quite make it all the way there, the old Hungarian club guys like George McShevitz, Ray Demich, Rich Resendez, Dan and Ray Zagorski, Tony Chow Natal, and the late Ernie Webb. They were all a part of it, and our number 1 fan who passed away a couple years ago, George Turbovich. We miss you, Turby. And I'd like to acknowledge my kids, Scott and Megan, who made it, my girlfriend Mary Ann Berlotti, who's also a celebrity now. She nominated Stacy Starr for Teacher of the Year on the Kelly and Michael show. She's in the top 5. She wrote that, so props to her. And I guess I'll quit rambling, introduce the guys, and we are all humbled on behalf of the guys. Thank you. I went alphabetical, but I don't know how this is going to work. But we got Ralph Barrios. Ralph hit 11 homers for us that year. Southview basketball coach, currently at Brookside. Marvin Cruz. Marvin, as I mentioned, started that rally off, another from the 055. And I don't know how fast I'm supposed to go here. We'll let Ted do his thing. How we doing? Good? Okay. Next is Nandi Cruz. Nandi hit 378 for us that year. Was our anchor at shortstop. And most of you probably know him. And certainly I expect someday we'll welcome him into the hall for his individual accomplishments. Marion Clemens is next. Marion was one of the original Hungarian Club guys with me all along. And Marion contributed throughout the tournament, most notably carrying home bringing the 5-foot trophy onto the plane when nobody else would do it. So that was much appreciated. It's still in my basement. Mike Karen, tournament MVP, good friend of mine. I still play cards with him. It's an honor to go in here with him. Southview, 82. And another one deserving of Hall recognition, one of the best fast pitch players of all time around here. You got it. John Millsap Sr. John, he ate up a lot of innings for us. Some of the games that weren't as close, we got him in there, and it helped get us through the heat having that third pitcher. On the regular season, he was 11-5 for us, and was kind of my right-hand man in some of the decision-making, as he had done a number of his teams. And John definitely importantly contributed 2 All-American sons in John Jr., who could not be here today, and Billy Millsaps, who was a first-team All-American. Let's see, we'll move on. Greg Bogey Shedrin, I referred to him already. He was another original from the Hungarian Club days, and without him hitting that key triple in the 11th inning of Game 4, I don't think we would have made it to the finals. Kenny Schaup, he was our ace pitcher, 18-5 on the season, 6-1 at the Nationals, and he was a great hitter. But Kenny sacrificed himself. We said, hey, we need you to worry about pitching. We'll take care of the hitting. And I know it hurt Kenny not to be able to bat, but hey, he did what he had to do, and without him, there's no way we would have got here. Let's see, Kevin Schaup, Kenny's son, was also on the team, pinch hitter, helped us out, was a good player, and he helped us when he got his chance. Rick Zakryzik, fine bowler too. Many of you may know him from that. Hit 7 home runs on the season, none bigger than the 3-run homer in our semifinal game. And Rick's another one that was with me from the get-go with the Hungarian Club group. Those not here, John Millsaps Jr., Steve Murtis and Chris Smith from Columbus. They actually were 2 guys that came up and played with us from Columbus because they thought we were fun guys, you know. So, and Jim Robinson, our number 2 pitcher, he could not make it. He was 12-6 on this season. So you're probably ready to move on, and I'm going to abort this now. Still not totally messing it up. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We have reached that portion of this evening's program where we will be presenting the 2014 Ulan Awards, and we ask the 4 nominees to please come forward. The J. Ed Ullin Memorial Award was originated in 1974 by the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame to recognize annually the outstanding senior student athlete from Lorain schools. Each of the participating schools, Lorain High and Clearview High Schools, will nominate a male and a female student athlete to the committee. Criteria for judging includes class rank and GPA, athletic achievements, and community service or extracurricular activities, all of which have equal value. Secret ballot voting by the committee determines the winner of the $1,000 scholarship award, with the 3 runner-up nominees each receiving a $500 grant to the college of his or her choice. The Lorain Sports Hall of Fame gratefully acknowledges the financial grant received from the Lakeland Healthcare Corporation Board of Directors to assist in funding the scholarship awards. First off is Sarah Kea, nominated by Clearview High School. Her class rank is number 1 out of 148 with a 4.244 GPA. She's a member of the National Honor Society. In athletics, she's all-conference softball first team for 3 years, all-Ohio softball first team, a member of Student Council, the Red Cross Blood Drive, and her postgraduate plans are to attend Defiance College to play softball. The second nominee from Clearview High School is William Dowdy III. His class rank is 14th out of 148 with a 3.829 GPA, a member of the Spanish Club. In athletics, all-conference football first team for 2 years, all-Ohio football second team. He is a scholar athlete and a member of Youth for Youth, and his plans are to attend Baldwin Wallace University. The nominees from Lorain High School. First off is Destiny Wilson with a class rank of 61 out of 365 and a 3.6 GPA. She's been on the honor roll all 4 years, a member of the LEL basketball team for 2 years, Coaches Award volleyball for 4 years, Young Scholars for 4 years, a finalist in the Boys and Girls Youth of the Year Award, and she has been accepted into the Ohio State University. And the last nominee, also from Lorain High, is Eric Hall. He is 3rd out of a class of 365 with a 4.49 GPA, a member of the National Honor Society. In athletics, all-county Division I football first team, all-Ohio Division I football special mention. He is actively involved in the Cleanup Lorain as a volunteer, also the House of Praise Conference volunteer, and his postgraduate plans are to be accepted at 7 schools. Well, he has been, but has not made a decision as yet. And I have the honor to unseal this sealed envelope to determine who the recipient is going to be of the $1,000 scholarship. And the winner is Sarah Kea. If Sarah would like to come forward and say a few remarks, you're more than welcome to do so. You can even have a special envelope.
Do I get 6 minutes or no? 2? I can work with 2.
I'm not even going to start it.
Oh, thank you. First of all, I would just like to thank my parents, my coaches, past, present, future, and team. Without my team, none of this would be possible. And I would like to thank the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame for this great honor. I would also like to thank the staff at Clearview for preparing me for my future. And while attending Defiance College, I will represent the City of Lorain and the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame with great dignity, both academically and athletically. Thank you.
The Lorain Sports Hall of Fame annually salutes high school athletes who have brought the city and their schools recognition through their athletic achievements. Athletes are selected by consensus by the Ohio High School Athletic Association in the All-Ohio First Team in their respective sports or winning a state individual title in tournaments sponsored by the Ohio High School Athletic Association. The Hall of Fame Committee has coordinated a new program to present an appropriate plaque to each athlete at a school function in order to commemorate the honor. The following athletes have been so recognized during the 2013-14 sports season. From Lorain High School, Jocelyn Rogers, Division I All-Ohio Track in 2013, placing 6th in the 100-meter dash. Devin Edwards, Division I Wrestling, 3rd place in the 106-pound weight class. From Clearview High School, Lance Billings, Division IV All-Ohio Football, First Team End. Roger Engel, Division IV All-Ohio Football, First Team Punter. Marcus Cruz, Division II Wrestling, 7th place at 120-pound weight class. Sarah Kea, Division II All-Ohio Softball 2013, First Team Pitcher. And from Lakewood St. Edward High School, Tyler King, Division I All-Ohio Football, First Team Lineman. We congratulate all the athletes for their achievements. And once again, we return the program to President Wilson.
Thank you, Ron. I'd like to express thanks to those involved in making this another special event. And first, to Ron Baccalar. With the retirement of longtime MC Joe Tate, we are pleased that Ron Baccalar has accepted the opportunity to assume the Banquet Master of Ceremonies role. Another fine job. Thank you very much. The committee appreciates the media assistance in supporting the programs of the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame, the Morning Journal sports staff, Jim Allen of WOBL Radio, Joe Bach on WLCS TV 20 contribute to the success of the annual event. Thank you all for your support. And thanks also to the Elyria Chronicle. And we can't forget Lynn DeLuca and the staff here at DeLuca's in the Park. Thank you for the cooperation in making this another successful and enjoyable event. And finally, to the banquet chairman, Bob Lisicki, and the banquet committee, to the program book editorial staff and coordinator, editor Bill Stow, to the advertising coordinator, Ted Driscoll and staff, to Jim Popio and Bob Katrasak, co-chairman of the Narrative and Screening Committee, and to all members for their dedicated efforts in producing this event in honor of excellence in athletics in the city of Lorain. As a final announcement, our next activity is our annual golf outing fundraiser on Sunday, August 3rd at Fox Creek. If you're interested in supporting this event through the whole sponsor program or being a participant, application forms can be obtained from Golf Chairman Rick Hans or Ron Feldkamp or any committee member. For details, see page 11 in the banquet program book. We invite you to visit the Hall of Fame Museum located at St. Joseph's Community Center main lobby. And for details on that, you can see page 33 in the banquet program book. Finally, we thank all of you for your support by being here tonight. And we now ask Pastor Williams to close the program with benediction.
Thank you again to the committee for allowing me to participate. I'm an Elyria High School graduate. Wait. And I'm on the school board for Lorain City Schools. And I've been in Lorain for 17 years, and this is the most, I feel so much part of Lorain. I mean, I have to tell you guys, thank you so much, because this experience has been phenomenal for me. Now, if you would bow your heads for the last part of my 20-minute prayer. Gracious and Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time we've spent together. We thank you for these honorees who we have given their honor, because your word says to give honor to whom honor is due. We appreciate what they have done. Most importantly, we appreciate this time we've spent together. Now grant us safe journey home. Give us the best things that life has to offer. And we thank you for this in Jesus' name. Amen.
This has been a production of Lorain City Schools TV 20 WLCS.